What's up, Titans fans, and welcome to another episode of Titans Global Podcast. I am your host, Maximus Titan Fan, and with me, as always, is my good buddy Link. What's up, dude?
What's up? How's it going? Glad to be here. And thanks for joining us. As always, like, subscribe, comment. If you're already subscribed, drop us a share. We want to get to as many people as we can. We like to keep this free and for you guys. So get in the comment section. Let us know what you think about this week, and we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, and as you know, it's Thursday night, so we are talking Titans Bills pregame. Just to go over the basics, 1-4 Titans or 4-2 Bills. It's going to be on Sunday, CBS, normal time. This one we're actually, or they're 9-point favorites, or 8.5, depending on where you look.
Yep.
Doesn't matter. It's the largest point deficit favorite that we've had so far. Did forget to mention we are sponsored by Red Zone Builders. Red Zone Builders for all your expert excavation needs. Blah blah blah. But man, it's gonna be a rough show. So what's up? What's up, Matt? What's up, man? Get in there, chat with us. Anything you want to throw out there before we start? Hammering the.
No, yeah, I mean it's a weird vibe this week for sure. I mean, you're going up against a Bills team who is, I mean, honestly, I think they're at least a Super Bowl contender. They're in the conversation. They bring in some more pieces this week, like Amari Cooper. I know we'll talk a little bit later about what we think his involvement might be, but yeah, I mean it's tough. It feels like one of those games where an 8.5 point spread is almost a little generous, depending what the Titans are able to do on offense. But a little part, that we'll get into eventually is this isn't a game where the Titans are going to come out with a win 10-7. I mean, you've got to be able to put points on the board. You've got to break out of this habit of these 17-point games. And I mean, to be fair, I think Buffalo, because of their last two, they're averaging somewhere around 17.5, which is kind of crazy to think about. I don't expect this to be a 17.5-point game for Buffalo. I think the defense is going to be able to step up and get some stuff done, but ultimately it's going to be up to this offense to generate some plays, get some chunk yardage, and have some explosive plays that we've yet to see this season.
Yeah, and let's go ahead and get it out of the way. The elephant in the room, Will Levis.
Yep.
I guess some people are arguing that we saw some sort of improvement because he didn't make really stupid decisions in pressure situations. Well, he didn't really make great decisions while in non-pressure situations either. I mean, he didn't go through his progressions. I mean, we'll get into more of this later, but it just, I don't know, man. The more tape I watch, the worse it gets.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. The more tape I go back and look at, and the more specific routes I see from the receivers, he's either making the wrong read and reading the defense wrong, or he's just missing guys. And so, people complain about the game plan, and I myself said it seemed a little bit too conservative, but I think a lot of that's on the quarterback. I mean, it almost seems like he's taking his checkdowns a little too fast. He's not giving the receivers enough time to get open. He's looking right at a guy. He's either staring a guy down or he's looking at him and moving away before the guy gets open. So it's tough. I mean, he's in a headspace right now where he's not showing any signs of confidence. And this coaching staff, the complaint I have is if you're going to see if he's the guy, you're not going to see if he's the guy by handing the ball off. I mean, I think if you're going to live by him, you got to die by him. I think they're going to have to open things up this week and kind of put him in situations where he's kind of forced to take some of those deep shots. And if he makes them, great. And if not, you've got Rudolph there. But I don't understand. I don't understand how, if that's what this season is about, you've got to open things up. You've got to force him to start looking downfield. You've got to send these vertical routes and figure out what he does. I mean, that's the only way it's going to happen. And if you're not going to do that, and if you don't trust him, and if you're going to play things safe, then might as well put Rudolph in the game. I mean, there's no reason not to. If you're not going to trust him anyway, might as well go with the guy who hasn't really had a shot yet.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point there. A lot of people have said on social media that he's being held back by the coaching staff. And I mean, they didn't come out and blatantly say it, but if you read between the lines like we used to with Vrabel all the time, then his coaches basically threw his ass under the bus.
Yeah.
And ran him over, backed up, and went back over him again. They constantly point out situations that basically say, man, that's not the read he's supposed to be making. Very important when I reposted right before I got on here on the screen, and his first read is Calvin Ridley, who gets open immediately and probably goes for a touchdown if he catches the ball. And there's another one later in the game that he does the same thing with Tyler Boyd. He's wide open in the middle of the field, probably goes for a touchdown if he throws the ball.
Yep.
But instead, he makes a short read. It's like like you said, he's playing scared, man. And that's what my problem with Tannehill last year was. He was playing scared. And I don't care if you got to bench him for a while and get that out of his head. I'm with you 100%. We got to get something different going on. Maybe he needs to run more. Dive more.
But do you even trust him to do that? I think that's the problem. Like, I don't know. There's no situation you can throw him in right now where I trust him to make the right decision, whether that be running and sliding and not throwing a backwards lateral, whether that be taking a shot on the sideline. Like, there's just not any specific point where I can say, yeah, I think he'll make the right decision in that moment. It's sad. It's honestly sad.
Yeah, well, it's me honestly being a little facetious there, making a joke that maybe, he should try to run more to take some pressure, take some punishment, and then, I'll be able to play. But I'm not saying I wish injury on the guy. I'm just saying I don't want him playing football on my team anymore, damn it. I'm sorry, man. This is not good, man. Our show, but the last 2 weeks, I've said more 4-letter words than I can count in the entire season. It's crazy. Yeah. Callahan even talked about in his presser that he thought he was close or could be close to making a large leap. I mean, maybe Callahan sees something that we don't in practices. I don't know what he's looking at. Because even this week, yesterday's practice was not good. It just wasn't good. Bad decision making. Held the ball a little too long a couple times. Just not good, dude. And it doesn't, from what I see, it doesn't look like it's getting any better. So, like I said, yeah, you got to do something different. Start Mason, please, God. All right.
Yeah, and to kind of go off that, look, I want to kind of reiterate, nobody thinks that Mason Rudolph is the next great franchise Titans quarterback. That's not what anybody's asking for here. You just, right now, this team is about more than Will Levis, and there are other guys on this team that are looking for opportunities and looking for shots, whether that be Ridley, whether that be Hopkins. Like, I don't want to lose those guys. I mean, you can argue you can get some trade value out of that before the deadline, sure, but like I still want to see those guys succeed while they're in Titans uniforms. And right now, Will Levis just doesn't put them in the best position to be able to do that. And I mean, if you bring Rudolph out there and it at least gives you a spark, even if he's not great, he can do the same things that Will Levis is being asked to do without some of the mistakes. That's all we're looking for. I don't think Rudolph is the long-term answer. Honestly, I don't know what the long-term answer is at this point because there's still a lot of holes on this team, especially on the offensive side of the ball. They need something to change just for the sake of changing at this point.
Mm-hmm. And this is the last thing I'm going to say about Levis. But again, if you follow me on social media, you saw the video. All 8 targets towards Calvin Ridley in this game, the previous game. 6, in my opinion, 6 of the balls were uncatchable. Just completely uncatchable. 3 of them didn't even make it close to the wide receiver. I mean, he's 5 yards, 10 yards off of Calvin Ridley. So I don't know what he's doing right now, but it's not even close to what you should be doing. When you're that open in the NFL, I mean, he's getting the separation.
Oh, yeah.
You look at the advanced stats charge. He's getting the separation. He's getting one-on-one coverage on an average rate in the NFL for any wide receiver. Not a number one wide receiver, but any wide receiver. He's getting single covered, and he's getting huge separation. Will Levis just cannot deliver him the ball, and that's the problem.
Yeah, from the stats I saw, Calvin Ridley, and I may be rough, give or take a couple, but it was something like 27 targets on the season. Only 2 of those targets were credited to him as drops, and I think he has, 9 catches total. So you can do the math. That just shows you the majority of those passes to Ridley are completely uncatchable balls.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense as to why he was so frustrated.
Absolutely.
I mean, after 6 weeks of doing this, you would have to be frustrated, man.
Yep.
All right, so gonna try to move off of that. I'm sure we'll circle back around because my God, it's like that wart on the side of your foot or something. It just will not go away.
Yeah.
The Bills have been playing pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh Allen actually specifically has been playing really well, especially without Diggs there. I would argue that they did addition by subtraction there, basically because they're spreading the ball around more. And he also doesn't have that guy, barking at him all the time saying, I need the ball, feed me the ball. So like I said, you can just kind of disperse it. And the product of that is he's having a great season, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, 0 interceptions. That needs to change if we expect to have any chance of winning Sunday. Cannot let him be comfortable.
Yeah, and he's a problem because this is a guy, that when you talk about athletes in the NFL, I think Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and then Josh Allen's right there in that category. We saw against the Jets the last game how he's able to get mobile, not scared to run the football. I think Josh Allen is kind of what we want Will Levis's ceiling to be at this point. But yeah, he's playing great football, as you said, even without that number one wide receiver. I think right now Khalil Shakir leads the team in receiving yards. They still have weapons other than him. They've got Dalton Kincaid, and let's not forget who they brought in this week in Amari Cooper. Still think that's going to be an important part of this game. With Snead not practicing today, I don't know if that was part of his run or whether that's actually something he's dealing with the quad. We'll see what happens. But yeah, this is going to be a week where the defense can't take a snap off, because even if you've got them covered, even if you've got your protections, even if you've got what you're looking for, Josh Allen can still get out of the pocket, make things happen with his legs. So going to be a heavy task for this defense this week. And, we'll see. I tout this as one of the best defenses in the league, but it's also going to be up to the offense to get them a breather and sustain some drives to keep Josh Allen off the field, because that's how you beat the Bills, is keep him off the field.
Yeah, and something else to point out, I think Allen has like 8 more completions than Will Levis, but he has like 1,160 yards.
Yeah,
where Will Levis has, I think, 700 or something like that, 700-800. It's very low. When I was looking at the numbers today, I was like, holy crap, that's a bit of a difference right there. But anyway, yes, you alluded to it as well. Shakir's their number one wide receiver, but he only accounts for like 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is almost exactly 20% of what Allen's produced so far in the completions. So again, that just says that they're spreading the ball around really well. So it's not just guard this one guy and, shut these 2 guys down and you're good. It's going to be a very, we're probably going to lose.
I'll say this though, there are ways to beat this Bills team.
Yes.
If you can find something on offense This is a defense that's, I don't want to call them vanilla, but they're not going to throw a lot of exotic coverages at you. They basically just say our guys are better than your guys, and we're going to go trust them to do what they need to do. Very, very base defense. And the Titans can take advantage of that with some playmakers like Pollard, getting him out, getting some of the tight ends out in space. There are ways to take advantage of that. They just have to be able to do it and make those throws. So I don't think all hope is lost. Yes, I think that the Bills are definitely statistically and rightfully favored in this game, but there are ways to beat this team, especially with what I talked about. If you can just keep Allen on the sidelines, let your run game start working, and then build off of that, this is a team that you can kind of get them frustrated. We've seen it happen this year already. So it's possible, but it's going to be a tough environment. It's going to be a tough place to play, and it's going to be real important that the Titans come out early and actually finish a game.
Yeah, 100% agree. You know, I don't know if it's really possible, but you need to get in there and frustrate Allen. He's so elusive, though, and our pressure isn't exactly unyielding. It's not the word I would really, unyielding. It's the best way I can put it. I'm trying to be positive here, guys. Stick around. We're only going to go away for about 40 seconds, but we have to do our sponsorship. So we're going to talk about Amari Cooper, a little bit more about what the Titans do versus what the Bills do. And so stick around. What's up, Titans fans? Maximus Titan fan here. Are you in need of professional excavation services? Look no further. Red Zone Builders has the expertise, experience, and equipment to handle all or any excavation project, big or small. Whether you need land clearing, site preparation, trenching, foundation excavation, or any other excavation services, they have you covered. Their team of skilled professionals work diligently to ensure your project is completed safely, efficiently, and to your satisfaction. Trust the experts at Red Zone Builders to get the job done right. What's up, Titans fans? I told you I'd be quick. So, just to run down the team stats real quick. Well, basically, the Bills do everything better than us, except for yards per game, or excuse me, points allowed. It's the only thing we are better at, obviously, because we're number one in the NFL defense. But passing yards, yeah, they've got it. Rushing, they've got it. Kicking return average, they've got it. Punt return average, they've got it. Third down conversions, yards per game, turnover ratio. Their turnover ratio is ridiculous, y'all.
Yeah.
Because Allen hasn't been giving the ball up and the defense has been taking the ball away, unlike our defense, they are +8 in that margin. We are -7.
That's rough.
That is a major stat that definitely has to change. We did better at it in the last game. We just need to improve and continue for the defense to eat. Please, God, Will Levis, don't throw any or drop any. I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, the turnover battle, that's the one that jumps off the page for me. Amani Hooker came up big with one last week. There should have been another one that was intercepted, but it wasn't. But yeah, that's going to be kind of the recipe to this. You've got to find a way to generate turnovers on a team that generate turnovers for a team that doesn't turn the ball over very much. I don't know how you do that. I mean, you can scheme up some pressures. Again, we're talking about Josh Allen. He's mobile. You've always got to be batting at the ball. Got to try to jump in front of some of these pass lanes. Take advantage of some of the passes that might be coming to Amari Cooper, who isn't 100% into this offense yet. If he's running soft routes, maybe try to jump some of those. But yeah, just one way or another, this team, if they're going to beat the Bills, they have to find a way to win the turnover battle. We'll see if they can do it. That's yet to be seen to this point, but not all hope is lost.
All right. So another elephant in the room. Let's talk about it. Amari Cooper traded this week to the Bills. Does he start, in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think they start him. I mean, he's a veteran wide receiver, 30-plus years old. He's been in the NFL for a while. He knows how to run routes. I think this is his what is this, the third or fourth time he's been traded? I know he was traded to Dallas, then traded to the Browns, then traded here. So, yeah. So I mean, he's been around the league. I think, in my opinion, I think they keep it simple. I think it's going to be kind of a see ball, get ball thing. Keep him on some simple routes. Let him do what he's comfortable with. I think that's kind of what. Obviously, I'm not there. I think that's probably what they've been working on in practice is just simple routes, outside the numbers, quick slants, just things like that to get the ball in his hands because he's still a playmaker. At the end of the day, if you can get the ball in his hands, he can do something with it. So I do think he starts. I do think he's a part of this offense. I don't think he's a huge part, but I do think they try to get him the ball. And I think they try to do it early, kind of get him in a rhythm, kind of like what Ridley wants to do with the Titans. I think they try to get him in a rhythm, get him moving, see what he can do.
I mean, I agree. I think he'll start. I think he's for me. I think it's mostly he's a distraction for the offense or for the defense out there. If he is involved in the game, I think it'll be extremely limited. Like you said, he's 30, so I mean, you're right. He does have a lot of experience. He knows football very well. He seems to adapt pretty quickly, but I don't know, just throwing yourself in a new system, even though it's the same old routes, the language is different. Everything's a little different. I'm hoping that if they do use him, that he kind of does mess up something on the first day on the job. That would be kind of sweet, especially if he ran the other direction when Allen thought he would, an easy interception. That would be awesome from the football guys. And something I'd like to bring up, kind of off topic a little bit, but a lot of people have been saying that we're the same old Titans, even though we've changed so much. We still run the ball more efficiently than we pass the ball. We're still, losing to teams that we should beat. Question is, do we beat teams that we should lose against? Because we already beat Miami, and I know Miami was JV or whatever you want to call them, but they still have a lot of talent on that offense, even with a backup quarterback. And I'm so optimistic. It really hurts me sometimes, my optimism, because I want them to do good so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, historically, games with Buffalo were weird. I mean, we've seen some of the weirdest things happen in these Buffalo games. So, yeah, I mean, anything's possible. Anybody can beat anybody on any given Sunday. I mean, it's definitely a possibility. You just have to do the right things. That's what it comes down to. Limit the mistakes, do the right things, make the right reads. I mean, I'm not at practice this week. I don't know what they're working on, but if it were me, I'm starting with the run game. I'm trying to get that going, and then I'm starting on the play action and trying to build off that. I mean, there are simple things you can do against really good NFL teams that keep the offense on the sidelines and keep your drives moving, and that's what it's going to take. I don't expect this to be a shootout. I think it's either a close win for the Titans or it's a blowout by the Bills. I don't think there's any kind of in between. They're definitely the more talented team. They're the more efficient team. Titans just have to find a way to kind of catch them on their heels a little bit. That's going to be the only way they get it done.
Yeah, that is pretty accurate. Because I mean, like I said, every team stat, they're better than us. Even in the return game, which I just knew we were going to get the edge in. But damn it.
Yeah, hadn't worked out.
But it's all right. Can the Titans defense at first when I wrote this sentence, I said keep. But then I had to remember what happened at the end of the last game. And then I said get back to the shutdown, lockdown defense that we were.
Oh, I think you might have froze out. But yeah, to build on that point, the shutdown defense, I definitely think they need to get back to that. But at the end of the day, again, I felt like the defense was doing a really great job of that early against the Colts. And then what changed for that? It was the offense coming out, three and out, punts, turnovers, and then you're putting your defense right back out there after just going to the sidelines. Not only is that going to frustrate them mentally, but physically, they're not going to be 100% going on the field that much. They have no breather. Coming out of the second half, when the Titans couldn't sustain a drive, that's what put the defense in jeopardy and led to some of those big plays by the Colts. So yeah, I mean it is what it is, and the defense definitely has to keep playing that lockdown D, but at the same time, the offense has to help them out a little bit too.
Yeah, to be honest, the biggest thing that disappointed me about our defense, and the reason I say they need to get back to their lockdown ways, is Snead, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, I brought it up a couple times because it's kind of bit him in the ass, but the statement of "I sucked" in week 1 when he got 2 passes for 18 yards. And he didn't have a statement like that. I mean, he said he didn't play good and blah, blah, blah. But he didn't come out and be like, "Oh, I suck, man." I pretty much single-handedly cost our defense, at least 1 touchdown. It should have been. It should have been in Miami. Tyreek Hill burned his ass twice. Mm-hmm. So my question here is how is Jarvis Brownlee Jr. playing better than Snead?
I think part of that has to do, one, I don't know that Snead's 100% right now. I'll say that to kind of start things off. But at the same time, Snead is also one of those players. He's a very, very physical corner, and he's one of those types of guys where he's either going to get beat or he's going to make a big play. Mm-hmm. He puts himself in a position where it's almost one of the two all the time. And we've seen him get beat. We just haven't seen the big plays yet. I mean, he's a couple interceptions away from us saying, "Oh, Snead was the right decision. I'm glad he's here." So yeah, I mean, he was getting beat, but at the same time, the defense as a whole was kind of covering that. They did what they had to do. Even on the big plays they gave up, they got right back out there and did the right thing. So, yes, his play has been not ideal, but he's doing enough. And I think we're still some big plays away from seeing what we thought we were getting. And I think we do see those. I think he's just that type of player.
Yeah, I agree. I hope he gets back to his winning ways. I just wanted to say thank you, John Palmer, for the stars. We appreciate that. Oh,
froze out again.
We got to get these technical difficulties figured out before next week. But Snead, man, he's missed the last 2 weeks or 2 days of practice with a quad injury. Again, I really hope that's just him resting and not an actual injury, because if he gets held out of this game, you know what that means.
That's Trey Avery.
And that's a huge liability. Yep. I cannot stress how much I don't want to see Trey Avery on our defensive field. He does bad enough on our special teams when he's missing the tackles as a gunner. Nevertheless, when he's getting burned constantly, we saw it last year. Please, God, don't do this again to me. We went out and got 2 really good cornerbacks. Please, one of y'all get healthy and stay healthy.
Yeah. Do you think, and I don't know how I feel about this, but if you look back at last year when they're kind of out of playoff contention, you had some guys that probably could have gone if they needed to, but ended up ultimately just saying, "Hey, it's not worth re-aggravating an injury." Do you think we're kind of getting to the point in week 7, as much as I hate to say that, where some guys are saying like, "Yeah, I could go, but this is nagging me a little bit. So because of our record, because of what we've got right now, I'm going to err on the side of caution." See what I'm saying? Some of these veteran players, and I've got nothing against that. I mean, I'll be honest. I don't know that I would want to go out there and risk limb and body for a team that's 1-4. I mean, it sucks to say, but I think we're going to start getting to that point where something that might just be a nagging injury is something that's keeping a guy out, because he's in the back of his mind, he's thinking, well, what's the point? And I hate to say that, but that's kind of what that might feel like.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. I mean, we got to start asking these questions. These are the hard questions we have to ask ourselves, but it's reality. You have to think these guys make money based on their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a delivery driver. You make money based on your car. You need to maintain that car as well as you possibly can because that is your source of money.
Yeah.
If you let your car break down, you can't make deliveries, therefore you don't make money. Same thing. Football guys, bodies are money, man.
Yep.
Got to keep your body healthy to make the money. So I
And
get it,
and you
especially
also
if you're on a 1-year deal.
well, okay, here's my next point. And this I really don't want to think about, but it's something that we have to discuss because we're covering a 1-4 football team. The trade deadline's in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Your next 2 games are against the Bills and the Lions. Statistics would say those are both losses. So then you're sitting at 1-6 a few days before the trade deadline. These guys that are on a 1-year deal, L'Jarius Sneed, let's be honest, D Hop, these are guys that you almost have to start thinking about shopping. If you're starting a guy with a potential injury that isn't a problem yet, you're risking what you might get in return for them before the trade deadline. And that sucks to think about. But at this point, it's a real possibility that we may see them start selling a lot of these pieces to try to get some draft capital. So why start them against the Bills? Why start them against the Lions if you're going to go try to get a 5th, 6th round pick for these guys?
That I don't disagree with. And most people are saying the number 1 trade prospect is a D-Hop. And I really hate that. Anybody who's watched me in the beginning of my shows knows that's really where I got my popularity is I knew that D-Hop was coming to Tennessee. I knew that. Even, I just had the feeling. Plus, I do know a few people, and those people were telling me that, all signs point to D-Hop. 99.9% we're going to sign him. So I was pretty confident, like month or 2 before we actually signed D-Hop. So, and he's a good wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Even at his age, he's still producing maybe as a possession receiver, the best receiver on our team. So, does it hurt me that maybe we should probably trade him off? A little bit, but it's a business. That's the part you have to look at. And again, we're talking about a 1-4 football team that's probably not going to be making noise come December, so it doesn't really matter. And why repeat Derrick Henry again? And how old is he? Yeah, he's 32.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter that he's 32 because he can still produce at a high level. And people know that. So I feel like we could at least get a 3rd, 4th round draft pick for DeAndre Hopkins.
I don't think you're getting more than a 5th. Look at the Cooper deal. The Cooper deal is a 5th round pick. I think your best case scenario is trading him for a straight up 5th round pick. I don't know that anybody would give up a 4th for him, and that really sucks to say, but I think it's a realistic part of it because who's realistically? You look the Cooper deal got done. You've got the Chiefs that might be looking for a wide receiver, but at the end of the day, they're 5-0 without their best wide receiver. So it's not like they have to have him. They're still the Chiefs. Travis Kelce hasn't even been a big part of their game yet, and they're 5-0. So they're not gonna go shopping with a 2nd, 3rd rounder. Realistically, I think the best you get is a 5th, and I think I take that all day. As much as it pains me to do it, I think I take that all day because I don't know you're gonna get any better, and he's gonna walk anyway. So,
well, and another good point to that is, even if I am way off and we take a 5th round pick for him, Ran Carthon is actually really good at picking deep in the draft. We've already seen that.
Yeah.
I.e. Jarvis Brownlee Jr., who's a 5th round draft pick, who we got out of the Bayard deal. So, literally, if you had asked me last year, would I rather have a defensive back that produces like Jarvis Brownlee Jr. or would I rather have Kevin Byard still on my team for half a season? Answer is easy. I mean, it's an easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, yeah, man, I think the smart move is to trade Diop while he has some kind of value or we can get some kind of return on him. Because to do the exact same thing with Derrick Henry, we could have traded him to Baltimore and got some kind of pick out of it at least. We ran him the rest of the season. It didn't do us any good at all.
And he left.
He still ended the season. Yeah, and then he left. And we didn't get nothing for it.
Got nothing. Yep.
So, yeah, we can't do that.
With that being said, are you ready to shop Landry? With the lack of pass rush they've had already, are you entertaining offers for Harold Landry?
I mean, I like the idea of it, but if I'm being honest, based on what I'm hearing around, he has an extremely high salary, and I don't think people are ready to pay that for what his production shows.
I think he would have to go to a team like Detroit where they're in win now mode and basically saying, "F it, we're all in this year." And that's that. I mean, they're ready to make a Super Bowl run now. And then with their edge rusher just getting hurt, I think that's a team that maybe if I'm the Titans, I'm calling them and
sense.
saying, hey, what are you interested in giving for this? I mean, he's on – I think it's a 2-year deal that he's still on. The Titans do have the option to let him go at the end of the year. Wouldn't shock me if they chose that route if he wasn't traded. Just curious because I'm looking now at this team thinking, okay, what pieces am I willing to shop? Landry, Snead, D-Hop. I'm listening to offers on Ridley. There's not many players I wouldn't entertain offers on.
I don't know that I'm entertaining offers on Ridley yet, unless he asks for a trade. I mean, obviously, if he's disgruntled to the point that he asked for a trade, I understand. But at this point, for the deal we've got him on, for what he produces, I mean, not produces right now because Will Levis isn't getting the damn ball. It's hard to know how many drops he would actually have if he had all the receptions, Right. But I still feel like Ridley could be a highly productive player for what we have paid him. And I feel like he's still got at least 2 good years in him. So, no, I don't know if I'm willing to trade Ridley yet. But Harold Landry, yeah, dude. I mean, I think we take a little bit of a dead hit. I'm not sure exactly the numbers. I probably should have looked it up before.
Yeah, the only way that trade – I kind of crunched a little bit earlier. The only way that trade works is if the Titans cover part of that salary. That's the only way because there's really nobody else that could afford that right now that would actually be interested. So you'd have to go to a team and say, look, I'm willing to pay this much for this trade. That's
But in that deal, you're essentially buying a draft pick.
Pretty much.
But you're also giving him Harold Landry.
Pretty much.
And I mean, yeah, he hasn't produced the constant pressure that you want, but if you look at his stats overall, I mean, he's the only guy that's actually getting to the quarterback. I mean, there's a couple other ones out there, but I mean, the biggest thing that worries me right now is Trevondre Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
He missed today with a knee injury that he didn't seem to have Wednesday, which bothers me. And he has done nothing but dominate the defensive line. We can't seem to get a healthy Jeffrey Simmons and a healthy Trevondre Sweat at the same time.
Yeah, that one's not ideal for sure. Again, I'm hoping that's something that's just precautionary, but we'll see. I mean, tomorrow's going to be a lot more telling. See what they do with him, see what they announce. But yeah, kind of out of nowhere, and that doesn't give me high hopes for what his role's gonna be come Sunday.
Yeah, it looks like Jeffrey Simmons will get a turn with Joseph Day to see how they do together.
Yeah, and I think Colburn is out too, correct? He was listed as doubtful. So, I mean, again, that hurts your depth on the interior at a spot where they're not super deep already.
Yeah, and it looks like Spears isn't going to go either, which is a huge heartbreaker, man. I feel so bad for him, man. I hope he gets back healthy soon. I hope he doesn't rush it back and hurt himself again. I hope I love Tajay Spears, man. Not only as a football player, but as just a damn person. He's a freaking.
Oh, froze out. But yeah, no, I agree with you on Spears. I think now I will say this. Super not thrilled that he was injured in the first place, but going into the rest of this season, at least for the next few games, I'm pretty okay trusting in Pollard. I think he's been really productive to this point. Having him as a running back one, there are worse running back ones to have in this league. So really happy with what I've seen in Pollard. So, T's and P's to Spears. I want him to get back as soon as possible, but I don't feel like losing Spears is a huge loss to this team just because of how good Pollard's been.
I was going to say, yeah. I mean, I really like Spears' explosiveness. Pollard has some great explosiveness too.
Absolutely.
If Spears had the same vision that Pollard does, he would be off the charts. That's the only bad thing about Spears is his vision is just lacking just a smidge.
Yep.
And if he gets that anticipation of the blocks down, he'll be great.
I agree. And I think that just comes with experience. I think the longer he's in the league, the more he's going to see stuff like that. I think his development's been pretty good to this point, but you're exactly right. As soon as he gets that down, he's going to be a weapon.
Yep. So here we are. I've pretty much covered everything that I can think of to cover on the Titans versus the Buffalo Bills. So, do you have any summaries before we get into our bold predictions?
Gosh, I don't know. It's just find a way. Find a way. I don't know. I mean, again, it's tough, and emotions aren't great. Morale's not great. I don't feel like it's great for fans. It's not great for the team. They've got to find a way to get right, even if it's not a win. Just they've got to show something. They've got to show a spark. They've got to show a fire because there's other guys on this team that are still willing to fight, and this coaching staff and these other players have to find a way to step up and make sure they're doing their best to put at least a decent product on the field because we haven't seen that yet, in my opinion.
Not really. I mean, our defense has been well. We've done well there, but everybody knows that our offense is terrible.
Yeah.
So bold predictions. I'm going to start off. Levis, no turnovers this game.
Hey,
pretty bold prediction.
It's been free money on Levis, 0.5 interceptions per game. The over-under on that, absolute free money. I know I've had a lot of people come at me saying, hey, you got to start taking these bets. But so you're taking the under this week on 0.5 interceptions.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. All right.
I don't know why. I think it's more of wishful thinking than it is a bold prediction.
Okay. All right.
As far as the defense goes, again, wishful thinking, consistent pressure.
Okay.
I'm not expecting us to actually get Allen on the ground because he is an insane mobile guy. He's huge. He's strong. But I would just like to move him around a little bit, make him roll out, make him experiment a little bit back there. Don't just leave him comfortable in the pocket because if you do, he is going to just dissect the defense. It doesn't matter how good our cornerbacks are.
Yeah, fair enough. I'd say my bold prediction, defense, mine's kind of weird, but I think this game is won on third down on both sides of the ball. I think it's going to be about shutting down Josh Allen on third down, getting him into those fourth down situations where you can try to get a stop, keeping them to field goals. That's where the game's going to be won. And on the offensive side of the ball for the Titans, it's the same thing. You've got to win those third downs. You've got to keep the chains moving. You've got to keep him on the sidelines. So for me, I guess my bold prediction is just the Titans defense being able to get Josh Allen off the field. I think the Titans have a good chance at winning the time of possession. If they win, it's going to be in the time of possession. that's how they're going to get it done. So if it's a Titans win, I say time of possession. That's kind of my bold prediction. Offensively, why not? Will Levis benched in the second quarter. Rudolph comes out after halftime, gets the job done, gets a Titans win in Buffalo.
I like that prediction.
Sure, why not? That's going to be my bold prediction until I'm going to, what do they say, create your own reality.
There you go. Speak it into existence.
Speak it into existence. Something's going to happen. Rand Carthon's finally going to send the call down at halftime to Callahan and say, it's time, let Rudolph cook, in the game for the second half, and he gets it done.
Dude, yeah, we got to do something different, man. I mean, these guys, I mean, surely, look, man, I'm a smart guy. I'm an intelligent person. I might not come off that way, but I am, I promise. And I know a little bit about football. So I feel like, you know, I'm pretty smart when it comes to football.
Oh, froze again. We'll wait till you come back. I kind of like where this is going.
But my point is basically that, you know, I know what I'm talking about, but if I know what I'm talking about, you know, and I don't make any money at all doing this, surely people that make a bunch of money, like millions and millions of dollars that Rand Carthon and Bill Callahan, Brian Callahan, all these big Nick Holtz, all these dudes make all this money. Surely to God, someone can go, bro, this ain't working. I mean, even if Levis is the answer and you think he is the next coming of Christ, as far as football goes, he ain't it right now. Okay.
Yep.
He's the Christ before he turns 30 in the Bible. You notice that Christ goes from 8 to 30. But anyway, the point is, he's in that middle period where he has no idea what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't made it to the part to where he's the savior of our franchise. And I'm not saying we need a savior. I'm just saying, and Mason Rudolph ain't the savior.
No,
he ain't it.
No.
But he can be good enough, maybe, to hold us over until we can find that guy who is it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm saying is just stop with the Levis crap, man. If you're gonna lie to us, you know what I mean? Don't make me feel like I'm an idiot because you're lying to us so bold-facedly. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, I agree 100%. And that's the frustrating part because it's like, okay, we want to see what we have in the guy. He's our quarterback. All right. I feel like you've seen what you need to see at this point, in my opinion. And if you haven't seen what you need to see, why are we running this scheme? Why are we running this game plan? Because if in this game plan, you could put Rudolph out there and do the same thing because you're learning nothing about Will Levis at this point. You're learning – the only thing you're learning is how much you can test his mental strength because, I mean, the dude's just – he's folding. He's folding under pressure. So, yeah, I think you have to try something different. I think I've seen what I need to see at this point. I know that Will Levis is not the guy going forward. I don't think there's anything he can do at this point that's going to give me the confidence that he can be the guy going forward. I think that it's time to make that change. And even if you're going to go get another quarterback through free agency, through trades, through the draft, however you're going to do it, I think now it's time to see what you have in Mason Rudolph. Because if you have a comparable quarterback in Mason Rudolph, maybe he sticks around for next year while you set a young guy behind him. I mean, I think that's the best way to go about it, or you're right back in the same situation year after year after year. It's time to build for the future, and I'm talking future as in not just next year, but for the next 4 years, for the next 5 years. Get yourself a young quarterback, let him set behind our veteran, develop him at practice, develop him through training camps, develop him through preseason. That's the only way you're going to find success as a Titans team, unless you just go get veteran after veteran like the Joe Flacco's of the league. So, yeah, I think that's the route that I would take going forward. But like you said, I don't get paid millions of dollars to make those decisions. I just sit here in a chair and talk crap about the local football team.
Yeah, and I love it that people call me a couch GM, because I am. I mean, I do. I sit on my couch and I yell at them, "What the hell are you doing? Why would you do that?" And I mean, I just, like I said, I don't get it because I don't get paid nothing. And I can see this like blatantly.
Mhm.
It's not that it's hidden. It's like in your face. Hey, this is happening
Mhm.
and we're not doing anything to try to fix it. As a matter of fact, we're covering it up as best as we can,
Yep.
which makes me go, why? I mean, I get it. I get it. You don't want to just beat the guys up or whatever. This is the problem, dude. I don't like any of them. Not this year. Ward is okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think there's some option, and again, it's still early in the college season, just like it's early in the NFL season. A lot of guys can become standouts over the next 3-4 weeks. If I'm looking at who I like right now as a pure quarterback, guys that I think would be successful in the NFL, I'm looking at guys like Dylan Gabriel from Oregon. I'm looking at guys like Cam Ward from Miami. Shadur Sanders, I mean, it's one of those guys who is he worth taking a shot on? Maybe. I don't know if I see him as a franchise quarterback, but I didn't see Lamar Jackson as a franchise quarterback coming out of Louisville. So it's so hard to tell
That's who I
who's.
compare him
But
to.
the way I look at things, if you have a successful quarterback in college, odds are he might be a successful quarterback in the NFL. If you have an unsuccessful quarterback in college and he's not Josh Allen, he probably won't be successful in the NFL. There's no surefire way to know how a guy's going to respond to the next level. There's just not. The best you can do is evaluate to the best of your ability, bring him in, set him behind a veteran for at least a year, and then see what you've got in him. That's the only way to go, in my opinion. So if you're asking me who I like, Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, maybe Shadur Sanders. If you're asking me, guys, I'm kind of trending away from right now. I'm not a big fan of Jalen Milroe. Don't think Carson Beck is going to be successful at the next level. Those are kind of guys I'm shying away from. So if I miss anybody, feel free to ask specifically.
All right, it's actually a genuinely decent question.
Mhm.
Okay, there's no other quarterback on planet Earth.
Mhm.
You only get to pick one
Yep.
of these two.
Yep.
Who are you starting?
That's a super easy question. 100% Malik Willis. And no, here's why. No, but here's why. Like if you had have asked me at the beginning of the season, I'm saying Will Levis. But
Exactly.
at this point in the season, okay, we've seen Malik Willis operate in Green Bay. We've seen him make the right decisions. We've seen him make the right throws. We've seen an offensive scheme designed around him. So, yeah, I would love to see Malik Willis in this offense just for the simple fact of, okay, is it the coaching staff or is it the quarterback? Who's to put more of the blame on? Because we saw him go to Matt LaFleur, and Matt LaFleur turned him into a starting NFL quarterback. I mean, that's what he looked like in those Green Bay games. So if you're asking me right now at this moment who I'd rather see on this offense, it is 100% no chance of having it the other way, Malik Willis all day.
I don't totally disagree with you. Malik Willis is the more mistake-free quarterback.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing to me, man. Even if you're not throwing touchdowns and popping off the scoreboard, if you're not letting the other team pop off the scoreboard off your mistakes,
Mhm.
you're still helping your team.
Mhm.
Plain and simple. That's why we're lobbying for Mason. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's the greatest quarterback or anything like that. It's just that he's going to limit his mistakes.
He gives you the best chance to win.
Plus he can actually read what's happening in front of him.
Yep.
As far as I can tell, Will Levis cannot read what's in front of him.
Yep. And here's my problem, just kind of to build off that in the same way. During this offseason, I saw Malik Willis develop. I saw him progress as a quarterback. I've seen Will Levis this offseason regress. I've seen him get worse. I've seen him take the things he did good and do them bad. I've seen him take the things he did bad and not learn from his mistakes. it's as easy as that for me. Now, given Malik Willis does have a little bit more experience on Will Levis, but I think they're the same age, if I'm not mistaken in that. And
I think Malik's a year younger, actually.
yeah, well, there you go. And you know, if you look at the progression of Malik Willis, every year he got better. Every year he got better. He
Yep.
continued to get better. And a lot of that's coming from a Hugh Freeze offense at Liberty, where he just said, go do whatever. Just you're great, go be great. Run the ball, throw the ball, whatever you feel comfortable. He put him in an offense that wasn't designed to ever be an NFL offense. That's why I think he came in and his game didn't translate super well. Will Levis was at Kentucky. He was at an SEC offense running a pro style offense under Stoops. He should have came in with more, I guess, football experience, more pocket presence than Malik Willis did. We didn't see that. So that's my problem on Levis. I just haven't seen the development that I should see to this point.
It's a very good point, man. And you said the regression of Will Levis, and I like what a couple people have said about that regression of Will Levis. And they say the only way he regressed was in his luck, in the fact that, and we talked about this a lot last season, but he threw the passes. They should have been intercepted, or they should have been, it should have been horrible plays, but they just didn't happen because he got lucky.
Yep.
This year, he's not getting lucky on those same instances. He's getting intercepted. Not every time, though, because he threw a couple in Indy that should have been intercepted. They just weren't.
Yeah, multiple times last season we said if these fall a little bit different way and these interceptions that should be interceptions turn into interceptions, we're having a completely different conversation. And now here we are having that completely different conversation. So yeah, it's just that's what it is. That's what it is. He was throwing interceptions and then hitting guys, making them fumble the ball in the same play. Now we're not seeing that. So it's I think. And here's the other part that sucks is if you look back at Vrabel, and no, I don't want Vrabel as my quarterback, but if you look back at Vrabel, was he kind of right? I mean, he didn't want to throw him out there. Obviously, he saw something where he's like, I don't want to throw this guy out there. If Tannehill's healthy, Tannehill's going to go. Levis needs to set behind him. And again, we saw Carthon kind of interject, in my opinion, and say, no, this is the guy. He's who we're going to roll with. And I feel like Levis might have something to do with why Vrabel lost his job. So, here we are looking back thinking, man, hindsight's 2020, but was this foreshadowed? Like, should we have seen this coming? Was there writing on the wall at that point?
Look, I think you're on to something there. Basically, I've even said it publicly that I think that Will Levis did have something to do with Vrabel being fired. That's pretty obvious from my vantage point. It's pretty obvious. Also, I think that gave him a bit of hubris going into the offseason, and I think he's got. I mean, everybody needs a little bit of cockiness to be a quarterback, but the brand of cockiness that he was running. I mean, Tom Brady said that he saw himself in him, and God, man, everybody was gushing about him this offseason. Then he goes and does those Mayo commercials. I mean, like, the dude basically went from, I'm mad that nobody picked me up in the first round, to now I'm so good that I can do commercials and, take my guys out to Cabo, and we're still not going to have timing down in the regular season. We still don't have timing plays down. So what good did that do you?
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think the ceiling is still there, and I don't think the comments of Tom Brady saying he sees a little bit of himself in him, but yeah, let's remember Tom Brady sat behind Drew Bledsoe. He had opportunities to learn. I think the Titans built a team around a guy who wasn't ready to have a team built around him. I just think he was unprepared for what this is this season. I think he's in a little over his head. That's not to say that he can't go on to be great We've seen guys do it. We've seen the Geno Smiths. We've seen the Sam Darnolds. We've seen this. I mean, we're about to see Russell Wilson possibly start another game on Sunday, who just became healthy. So I mean, it happens. It happens. I mean, guys can have comebacks. Guys can change the perception of their career. I just, for what it is right now, it can't be here, because there's no way he's going to get out of his own head going out every week and throwing these interceptions and making these mistakes, and then going to press conferences and having a therapy session, having to ask the media if he was sacked. Didn't even know if he was sacked or not that game. I mean, it's a bad look. It's a bad look for him. It's a bad look for the organization. Not to be negative, but you just need to make a change for the sake of making a change.
Don't disagree with you, man. But let's see, you got any good score predictions for us this week?
Put me in a bad spot. I mean, I got to be real about it. I think that I think the Bills win this game. I'm picking them to cover the 8.5. If I'll give two predictions. Let me put it this way. I think if this goes the way that it's supposed to go, the Bills win this game 31-10. I think it's a blowout. I think the fans step up. I think it's a rough environment to play in. I think it's 31-10. If, and this is a big if the Titans are able to come out and sustain drives and force maybe a turnover or two and do some magical things that always tend to happen in these Bills-Titans game, I think they can pull this out somewhere around a score of 24-21.
That's interesting. You kind of said both my predictions, but only on different spectrums. I'm gonna guess somewhere around 34-21 Bills.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, it's really hard for me not to like the Bills. Just because if you don't know, now you do. Before I liked the Titans, before there were Tennessee Titans, I was still a huge football fan. And my favorite team was the Bills. Which explains a lot, right? I mean,
yeah.
Go to the Super Bowl 4 out of 5 years, I think, and only won once, and it was against the team that wasn't the Dallas Cowboys. Oh my God. And it also, helps you guys understand a little bit why I hate the Cowboys so much.
There you go.
Nothing to do with the Titans. It's all about the Bills. Huge, by the way, there's nothing left. Okay. I just, every now and then I'm like, well, good for the Bills, but if we're playing them, it's just like Georgia and UT. I'm a Georgia fan, not a UT guy, but I support UT just as much as I can. Until they play Georgia.
Fair point.
But yeah, I feel like Titans are going to lose this game. Unless they're, like I said, there's ways that we can win. But for the most part, yeah, man, we're probably going to lose this game.
Yeah, that's why my player to watch would be Mason Rudolph. If he hits the field, I think the Titans have a shot.
Oh, my God, I would love it. I'm not.
Oh, froze up. We'll get it back.
If Mason Rudolph does go in and we win the game, is there ever a scenario where you could see Will Levis coming back in this season?
Yeah, sure, if Rudolph breaks his leg.
Exactly.
I mean, that's about it. I mean, once you set the guy, he's done. He's done, and that sucks. Like I said, unless there's an injury. But yeah, I mean, I don't think once you set him, it's done. It's done. You're looking, and I think that's part of what's so scary for this coaching staff and management is they know as soon as he hits the bench, you're looking for a new quarterback. You're looking for a new quarterback. You're automatically going straight to who's the next guy up. And yeah, it's scary because it feels like we just did this. We just did this as Titans fans, and it was Will Levis, and it didn't work out, and now you've got to do it all over again. But that's what it takes to be a successful organization. You don't have the guy till you get the guy.
Well, look, I'm gonna be maybe a little too honest here. That look that Will Levis gave when he looked up at the camera and he was just like,
Mm-hmm.
and he looks like he's about to break out in tears and start crying because he just doesn't know what he can do to make himself any better at that point. That look, the reason I know exactly what that look is because I've had that look many times as a mechanic. There are so many times you have no idea as a mechanic. You're looking at something and you're like, I don't understand. It's getting fuel, it's getting fire, it's getting air, it's getting everything it needs, but it just won't fucking run. I don't get it. And it's maddening. And then when someone actually does find the answer, you're so pissed off.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not you. You know what I mean? If somebody else finds the answer, you just feel dejected.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't do a good enough job. And that's where he's at right now. I've seen that in his eyes. So if he's already at that point of I'm dejected, I just don't see exactly. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I just don't see him winning anything anymore.
Yep.
I'm sorry, man. Let's go Mason.
Yeah, and I feel like what you just described is where a lot of this team's at. I think that's where Callahan's at. I think that's where Carthon's at because this was Carthon's guy. It's not working out. He doesn't want to admit he's wrong. Callahan comes in, wants to run his offense, can't do it with this quarterback, doesn't know what's going on. They bring in all these weapons. It's not working. Levis gets out there, has all the weapons, can't make things work. So it's been a failure on so many fronts that you've got to find a way to salvage what's left of this season, even if it's just a couple wins to try to get some confidence back. And the guys that we want to be here, in the Simmons, in the Sweats, in the Brownlees. I mean, you've got to keep these guys engaged and going just for their development's sake.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't hurt someone else's development because somebody else refuses to accept that they need to do something better. But anyway, I'm gonna try and get off Levis. Thank you guys if you stuck around through this whole show. It's been a little depressing, but I apologize. I'm gonna try to come with a little more fire next week. We'll see how.
Froze up again. Last time tonight, though. Yeah, no, hopefully next week we're coming back with a win. A lot more energy, a lot more happy things to talk about. So, yeah, hope they get it done.
And hopefully no more technical difficulties.
There we go.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you Monday, or actually Sunday, if you subscribe to us on YouTube, which you should subscribe to us on YouTube. But if you do, you'll get our instant reaction Sunday right after the game. Then Monday, you'll get the actual reaction show. Until then, tighten up.
Tighten up.
Peace out.